Boy, did we put a dent in this turkey, guys. And I'm going to make a turkey casserole. And I'm going to wing it. And you may have gotten that from my picture because honestly, I've looked at all the recipes and I have a little bit of at least one or more, but I don't have all of one recipe, so I'm fixing to make up my own. Stay tuned. Let's see how this turns out. This is Jill with North Texas Vegetable Gardening Canning Recipes. And it's time to eat this leftover turkey. So here's what I have, guys. Let's do this and see what we come up with. I have a half of a large white onion. I have 1 can of cream and chicken soup. I have a box of rotini noodles. I have some breadcrumbs. I have some whipping cream and milk. I'm going to use this to make my cream sauce along with my cream of chicken soup. And I have some mozzarella cheese and some basil. And of course, I have my turkey here. Let's get started and see what happens. So while my water is boiling over there, I'm going to go ahead and cook my noodles first because I think that's what we're supposed to do. So we're going to find out together. I'm going to go ahead and chop up some onions here. And I did chop up a stalk of celery because I love the taste of celery. And what I'm finding when I cook, guys, is that you put what you like into your dishes. And this is going to be a casserole, so it's going to be a little bit of everything. We're going to use some onions, some garlic, some mushrooms, some mozzarella cheese. I went ahead and chopped up my turkey into smaller cube slices. We're going to use some breadcrumbs to top it off with. And I think it's going to be pretty good. My husband's excited because I found something to do with this leftover turkey. So, to start out with, while that water is boiling over there, chopping my onions, I'm going to get ready to saute my onions and my garlic. And I have canned mushrooms. They're not fresh, so I'm not going to saute them very long. I will put them in at the very end just to pick up some of the flavor of the butter and the garlic and the onions. So because I want this to be extra creamy, I'm going to put me some heavy whipping cream, probably about a 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to add probably about 3/4 cups of milk. So now I can put this back in the fridge. I don't like it sitting out. We're in a holding pattern here, waiting on my water to boil so I can add my rotinis. And then I'm going to start sauteing my onions and my 2 cloves of garlic. And then we'll add my little canned mushrooms toward the end. Again, we're not going to saute them together because I'm afraid they'll fall apart. And then we'll get on with the recipe. I think I'm going to add the celery to the saute too. The good thing about sauteing is you can add all kinds of great things to it. And as long as you make sure and add your garlic at the end, because it will burn quickly, you're usually primo. So let's see what we come up with on this winging it turkey casserole recipe. I did go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees. Alrighty, my water is boiling. It's not going to take long for this pasta to cook, probably about 8 to 10 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and get this going. And it's about a 1 pound box of the Barilla Rotini. Settle that boil down a little bit. So now I'm going to start heating up my butter in my saute pan, and I'm going to get 2 cloves of garlic chopped and ready to go. Okay, we have our pasta going here. I've got the butter melting. I got my garlic chopped. I've got all my vegetables chopped that I want to saute. I think this is going to be pretty good, but we'll sure find out, won't we? Need to turn this down a little bit. One thing about my stove is you usually have to kick it up on high to get it going. And then you have to turn it down. So, we're gardeners. If you have followed us for any length of time, you know that. We try to grow everything we want to cook. Right now, we've got all kinds of things in the garden. But one of the things I don't have is celery. I'd like to learn how to grow celery. And I know it's a cool weather plant, guys. So, leave some comments below on if you have grown celery and let me know any tips of the trade so I can get some celery in the ground because we are wanting to be as self-sufficient as we can. So we need to turn this down another notch. I'm going to set this aside for a minute. I don't want my noodles to boil over, and they will. So now it's time to add our onions and our celery. And again, we're going to wait a little bit for the, gotta have two hands here. We're going to wait a little bit for the garlic and for the mushrooms, because the mushrooms are canned. And we don't want them to fall apart for this casserole. So I've gone ahead, let me turn this down, and I have sprayed some canola oil on my casserole dish because I don't want this to stick. And I'm thinking that with the breadcrumbs and maybe the cream, it might try to do that. So we're trying to get prepared here. You know, when you cook from your garden, fresh vegetables, especially the onions and the garlic, because we do grow those, it makes your house smell so good. So this pasta is going to finish up here a little bit. And we're going to drain it, and we're going to go ahead and put it in our casserole dish, because we'll add all the rest of our ingredients in our saute pan here, and that's going to be our cream sauce. Yes, this is looking really good. So I do lots of cooking this time of year, guys, because this is the time of year when I get to take off some extended time, and I enjoy getting in the kitchen and coming up with new creations. So I've done lots of baking this year, as you know. I've done lots of presents. In fact, that bourbon brandy, the brandied fruit that I made almost two and a half, 3 weeks ago was a big hit for Christmas yesterday. Everybody was excited to get that, and the coffee liqueur that I made. So this is really enjoyable. I love listening to my music and just spending time in the kitchen, making all kinds of different dishes to see what we might like throughout the new year. So that pasta's just about done here. I'm going to check it. We're going to drain it, and we're going to put it in our casserole dish that we did spray some canola oil in. So while my vegetables are sauteing and my noodles are finishing up, I went ahead and microwaved about a tablespoon of butter, and I'm going to add some breadcrumb to it, because this is what I'm going to sprinkle on top of my casserole to kind of give it a crunchy texture. Just get this ready to go. Looks pretty good. Didn't use very much, maybe a quarter of a cup of plain breadcrumbs, and again, about a tablespoon of butter, real butter. So you can see I have quite a few noodles in there, and I'm finishing up on my saute. So I'm going to go ahead and add these mushrooms. Let that cook a little bit, get it mixed up together. I have a feeling I'm going to need a bigger pan. Yeah, I think I am, but we'll see. Again, guys, when you saute things in your house, everything just smells so delicious. So this is going to saute up. We have our casserole dish. That's about an 8 3/4 by maybe 11 1/2 casserole dish. I'm excited. I think this is going to be pretty darn good. So I'm going to add a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt to our saute. And I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Get this going. Yeah, that smells really good, guys. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. Garlic is a natural anti-inflammatory, it's a natural antiviral, and a natural antibiotic, if you didn't know, but Trick is you can't cook it and use it for that. So we make what we call a virus bomb recipe with fresh garlic and ginger and honey, or molasses and fresh lemon juice. So there's all kinds of great things that you have in your garden or that you could grow in your garden that's just plain healthy for you. So we're going to saute this up a little bit. Just as I suspected, I did have to go with a little bit bigger pan. I think, guys, that the saute is spot on. We're going to add our cream of chicken soup. We're going to add our cream and milk mixture. Ooh, that's going to be good. I think I'm already happy about this. And we're going to add probably about a cup of mozzarella cheese. Now you can use Swiss cheese or Havarti cheese. You want to use a soft cheese. Cheddar is going to be a little bit too greasy for you while it's cooking. So let's get this cream sauce going. You can see it is looking absolutely pretty darn good for winging it. And I promise I'm winging it. I think we need a little bit of black pepper. Woo-wee. And I have a little bit of basil here that I'm going to add. Just a little bit, guys, just a pinch. Dried basil. If you have fresh, that's even better. And we're going to turn this down on low because we don't want to scorch our cream sauce. Everything is mixing up quite nicely though. So that, to make sure that burner's a little bit cooled off over there where I was cooking my noodles. And you can see a cream sauce, guys, especially when you use a soup mixture, it's pretty darn easy. Wow, that's going to be really creamy. So what we'll do is we'll add this cream mixture over our noodles, and we will put some mozzarella cheese on top of it, and we will add our breadcrumb mixture, and we will cook that, guys, for about 35 minutes, and we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to take long. Whew, man. Look how creamy that is, guys. So now I'm going to pour this into my casserole dish over my noodles. So I got my cream sauce over my noodles. Now it's time to mix it up with the turkey. Boy, I made a mess, but look, guys, it's looking really good. So now I'm going to sprinkle some mozzarella cheese on the top. Need to open up this next batch. Again, you really don't want to use cheddar cheese because cheddar cheese tends to come out kind of greasy and oily. Well, after it cooks. And we're going to add our breadcrumb mixture, and this is going to give it a toasty, crunchy topping. What do y'all think? So now it's going to go in the oven for about 30 minutes, and we'll check it after that and see how it looks. So a couple of things that we keep in our kitchen so that I'm able to make these recipes off the cuff and wing it is cream of chicken, cream of broccoli, cream of celery, cream of potato. Those are all the soups that I always try to keep on hand. Of course, all your spices. You want to keep basil and thyme and salt and pepper and cayenne pepper, parsley, dried parsley or fresh parsley. So keep all of these things on hand so that when you get a hankering and you want to make something, that you have what you need to make. Another couple of things that we keep on hand are beef broth and chicken broth. I also make homemade bone broth, homemade chicken bone broth, and homemade beef bone broth. And then I make homemade vegetable broth from my vegetables in the garden, with the exception of celery, as you know. So anyway, lots of great things to do. And the way we preserve our broths is we put them in the ball jars, sterilized, and we put them in our freezer. And when we're ready to use them, we just put them in the refrigerator and let them thaw out. And we have healthy broths to use in our recipes. So let's check back on this casserole here in a couple of minutes, and we'll see how we did. Well, there you have it, guys. We're going to dig in here and see, but it looks really, really good. And we did cook it right at 30 minutes on 350 degrees. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's give it a whirl. See what it tastes like. It's very good, guys. I think if I could have done something differently, I probably would have added more of the cream sauce. But it's pretty good, just the way it is. It's got that very cheesy taste. The rich cream. Turkey is delicious. And again, we didn't have to cook it that long because everything was already cooked. Especially the turkey and the noodles. It was just sauteing the vegetables and making the cream sauce and pouring it over and baking it. I'm very happy, guys, with how this turned out. Again, if I was going to do anything different, I would add more of the cream sauce and more of the cheese. Other than that, it turned out perfect. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. I hope you like what you're watching and all of our good cooking videos and how to use your leftovers. We'll be using some of our leftover ham to make our black-eyed peas for the new year, and probably a navy bean soup that's going to be coming up. I love navy beans. Thank you guys so much for watching. We have lots more videos coming up. Gardening season, it's right around the corner. I'm getting excited, and it's a very beautiful day here in Texas. It's about 66 degrees. We do have a strong south wind. And we do expect it to cool off sometime next week. But anyway, I'm going to dig into this. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And we do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I'm praying we all have a great new year in 2021.